1.5% higher than the national private sector job growth, which was good, and that's continued to be. Our labor force is growing. We're also, if you look at the economic growth, since I became governor, the U.S. economy has grown at 11%. Florida's economy has grown 22%. And unfortunately, you see with traffic in Aventura. Look, I'm not telling everyone to come, but they want to come and they want to be here. Even in the summer months, it used to be like everyone. Now, you go to like Boca, some of these places, you got families there year-round. So we've got a lot of things that are going. But we have been able to really do that, offer a lot of opportunity to people. We are #1 in new business formations every year since I've been governor, #1 in net in-migration, I think every year since I've been governor, certainly the last 4 years or so, and you guys see that in South Florida in particular. #1 in education 2 years in a row by U.S. #1 in higher education system, I think 6 years in a row now, by U.S. News and World Report. And you know, the thing about our higher education system is, since I've been governor, there has not been one single red cent of tuition increases for Florida residents. And so you pay the same tuition you did back then. It's about $6,300 for our public universities for tuition. Beat that somewhere else. I mean, you can't even get to a elementary school for $6,300. And so that's something that's really, really special. But what we also done in this budget that we just had, fully funded the Bright Future Scholarship Program. So now, well, we've continued, but there's no doubt the top performing students, they go to our state universities for free, no tuition at all. And if you're a top performing but maybe one rung below, you get a 75% reduction in your tuition. So that, you really can't beat that. And I do point out from time to time, we do have for top performing out-of-state students, if you are a grandparent in Florida, you can perhaps qualify for in-state tuition for your grandkids if they're high performers at our public universities. And that's a neat little thing that we have as well. So the and we have #1 in education freedom in America for K-12 with our school choice programs. And no one's seen that more right here in Miami. We now have, we had in the last school year, over 400,000 on private scholarships, over 400,000 in charter, and then many hundreds of thousands more in choice programs within school districts. Like, you know, Miami-Dade District has a lot of choice programs where you can go within the district, which is good. And they have to do that because parents are expecting that in Florida. And so that's really good momentum that we have. But we think that those programs are only going to grow in this upcoming school year. And I've already gotten preliminarily, you know, we think it's going to be much more than 400,000 for our Family Empowerment Scholarship Program. And so that's going to be good. We're doing it. And, you know, there's some other states that have done choice now that Florida has kind of paved the way, and I applaud that. But, you know, the scale of what we're doing, it's not even close. When you talk about it, some of these states have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 kids on choice programs. You know, we got like 1.5 million on various choice programs if you look at everything that we have. That is a really, really big deal. And I also like to point out our charters, which is big in South Florida. If you look at our charter school population, it's 400,000 kids. That would be more K-12 students than probably half the states in this country, but certainly it would be similar to the size of many of our less populated states. The population of our charter is disproportionately low income, disproportionately racial ethnic minority. If that population was its own state, those 400,000, it'd be one of the top 5 performing states in the country for K-12 alone. That's just the charter population. So we're excited about what we do in education. I think it all goes into what we're able to do with the economy. And oh, by the way, we just got ranked #1 in the nation for economy by CNBC. And that's 2 years in a row. Anytime we get ranked #1 by me, they don't want to rank Florida 1. They really don't. But the results speak for themselves, so they've got to do that. Of course, we have a AAA credit rating, better credit than the U.S. government. We have a massive budget surplus, and that's because we've made tough decisions. We basically could, you could spend like drunken sailors right now if you really wanted to in Florida because of how much cushion we have, but that's not responsible, and so we really held the line there. I think since I've been governor, I vetoed probably $7-8 billion worth of spending. And sometimes legislators don't like that, but sometimes some of them come to me and say, you know what, you were right by doing that. But the reality is, because we've done that, since I've been governor, all the debt that Florida had in its entire history, from the 1800s until the present, we've paid off 36% of that total debt. And we wouldn't have been able to do that unless we were exercising the veto pen. And so we now have the lowest per capita debt, state debt, anywhere in the United States of America. So that is good. That means not only do you have an opportunity to succeed now, but we're not going to have a budget crisis in 5 years or 10 years as long as we keep doing what we've been doing. A lot of these states that people are fleeing from to come to Florida, they're on the brink of bankruptcy. I mean, you look at some of the cities like Chicago, they can't fulfill these pension obligations. Illinois, you look at New York, all these things. New York, really, I mean, the amount of taxing they do is unbelievable. Our budget, we have millions of more people than New York State does now in Florida, and yet our budget is half the size of New York State's budget. But we have better services, better roads, and higher performing education. So where is all the money going with this? And you know what they do? They tax people. The city is in disrepair from what it used to be when Giuliani and Bloomberg were in. And so you have a situation. You'll go and work for 25 years for the NYPD or FDNY, and then you retire to Florida. So they spend all the pension money here in Florida. They've been spending it in New York. So that is not, they're in a vicious cycle where they're doubling down on bad policies. We're in a virtuous cycle where we're being able to do that. So we're proud of that, but we also look and say, what has happened in this country since 2021? Is you've seen a serious run of inflation, and I know the media is trying to downplay it to be able to help Joe and now Kamala, try to get the election. But the reality is this has been a big problem for 300 plus millions Americans. I mean, everything you buy has been impacted by this over the last 3 years. Clearly, with our little $116 billion budget, when the federal government's printing trillions and trillions, we're not exactly impacting that in either direction directly. But what we've done is we've taken huge strides to help families cope with what is going on. And we've done that in a variety of different ways. We have now in place, again, for the second year in a row, our 50% reduction in tolls for all Florida's commuters. So you're coming to work, you're paying tolls every day, the end of the month, you get a 50% reduction on your bill. You don't even have to do anything. We're just doing it. We did it in 2023. We're doing it again in 2024, started up in April. We'll go through the following March. That is saving people, potentially hundreds of dollars a year. We have other things like our disaster preparedness tax holiday. The first one already happened. Look, we don't know what's going to happen with these storms. I mean, I know people look and say it's quiet now. That can change very quickly. You had an opportunity to do prepare. There's going to be another one coming up in August. If you need to get supplies, you can do that tax-free. That saves people money. We have our skilled worker tool holiday. Will come up in September. That's not just for skilled workers. I mean, we're kind of branding it that way because people that are handymen or things like that can go do. You can do it. I mean, you just want to put more tools in your garage. You need something around the house. You can do it to be able to help yourself. And then, of course, July is our sales tax holiday for Freedom Summer Month, where no tax on a lot of recreational items, sports equipment. You have kids like we do. I mean, I just bought some stuff for my kids yesterday. I saved money on it. You have tickets to museums and concerts, all those things. So that is welcome relief as well. But today we're proud to announce that starting Monday again we're able to do 2 weeks of back-to-school sales tax holiday for Florida families. And this is an opportunity to be able to save real money. This runs through Sunday, October 11th, and it will allow you to save money on the most important school supplies, including pretty much any school supply selling for $50 or less is tax-free. Clothing, footwear, and other apparel, $100 or less, tax-free. Learning aids up to $30, tax-free. Personal computers and other accessories with a sales price of $1,500 or less when purchased for non-commercial home or personal use is tax-free. So all of those things, if you're doing it as a parent, and particularly if you have more than one kid, that adds up very, very quickly. So I appreciate the legislature stepping up and renewing this. I think it's important that we're able to provide relief for Florida families, particularly given how things have gone up so much over the last 3.5 years. If you want to look at the list of everything that's eligible, you can go to floridarevenue.com/back-to-school. floridarevenue.com/back-to-school. So these are things that are going to make a difference for folks. Toll relief. Oh, by the way, for families, we didn't have to announce anything new because we made it permanent. There is no tax, sales tax in the state of Florida on any baby item. So diapers, wipes, cribs, strollers, clothing, you name it. If you're raising kids, young babies in this state, you don't pay tax on any of that. And I remember when we had our first. I knew obviously you had to pay money to do different things, but I was massive sticker shock when you look at these strollers. I mean, it was unbelievable how much some of them cost. So now you're going to be able to get that tax-free, no questions asked, going forward. So these are meaningful measures to provide relief. Floridians, we're proud to be the #1 economy in the country. We're proud to be #1 for education in the country. And we're proud to be able to be down here with you today. Now, I'm going to call up some more folks to be able to offer a few words. So we're going to start with Secretary Harris. The good Harris.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Governor DeSantis. I just want to say, just take a moment, as a mom, all the things that you mentioned in terms of the wins in our state for education, they mean so much. I have a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old, and I'm so proud to be here and to know that they're going to some of the best schools, getting the best education, and that you continue to push our state forward. I am honored to be here, joined by many local leaders to highlight the 2024 back-to-school sales tax holiday. In just a few weeks, schools throughout Florida will open their doors and welcome millions of students back. At the same time, parents like me will be actively preparing to ensure their little ones have a successful start to the school year. It's an exciting time as our kids are getting ready to take on the challenge of a new academic year. But let's be honest, it can also be very stressful. Inflation has impacted all of us over the last 3.5 years as we watch costs for everyday items continue to rise. I cringe every time I leave the grocery store and I look at my bill. So it can be daunting to plan for all the purchases that need to be made during this time of year, especially if you have multiple school-age kids. And if your kids are anything like mine, a school supply shopping trip wouldn't be complete without a disagreement over many things, like the $20 backpack versus the $50 one, or the cost of sneakers. So that's why I'm so grateful that Governor DeSantis and the Florida legislature have once again offered Florida families the opportunity to save money on items that are critical to their child's success. I couldn't be prouder, again, to be a resident of a state that always puts children and families first. Not only have they ensured this savings is available year after year, but Florida has one of the longest back-to-school tax holidays in the nation. Many other states run their tax holiday for a few days, but Floridians have 2 weeks to take advantage of this incredible savings. This is important as parents are juggling a lot between work schedules, kids' activities, and other responsibilities. It'd be more challenging to take advantage of this if we were limited to just one weekend. I also know firsthand how much this tax holiday means to the families that we serve at the department. Many of our families are from single-parent households where every dollar saved matters. We also hear countless stories from our families who are taking care of kids in our foster care about how grateful they are for any support that they can receive during this time. So on behalf of all Florida families, thank you, Governor, for always going above and beyond to lessen the burden. We are fortunate to live in the free state of Florida and look forward to celebrating another great school year. Thank you.
And also just to report, I did a bet with the Premier of Alberta on the Stanley Cup Finals. It was 3-0. People were riding high, and then it kind of got a little sideways, but we were doing so. If Edmonton had won, I was going to send like some Florida rum and like a key lime pie or something. But the fact that the Panthers won, we are now in receipt of 2 bottles of Canadian whiskey, 1 maple whiskey, 1 rye whiskey, and they are at the governor's mansion. When we have events in the ensuing weeks and months, that will be served, courtesy of the Premier of Alberta. So I just want to say I'm glad that we were able to be successful in that bet. And it tells you, like, if the Sunshine State can win the Stanley Cup 3 of the last 5 years, then there really are no limits to what we can do. Monica, come on up.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Governor. Thank you for being such a leader. Thank you, especially as Vice Chair of the Miami-Dade School Board, for being such a leader in education, for making Florida not only the freest state in our country, but the freest in education, providing so much choice for parents, for allowing students to get the best educational fit that they deserve. And it's an honor to be here to share with you this back-to-school sales holiday tax announcement. It will benefit so many families across this great state. And Governor, if I'm not mistaken, this is the largest package in state history, if I'm not mistaken, so thank you for that. As I said earlier, I'm the Vice Chair of Miami-Dade County Public Schools, the largest in the state, largest district in the state, and the 3rd largest in the entire country. And thanks to our great governor, Florida, as he said, is the education state. Our parents are empowered, our students are excelling, and our educators are supported. And Miami-Dade County is proof of that. Just yesterday, the Florida Department of Education announced district grades and school grades, and I am so proud to report that Miami-Dade County is, for the 5th consecutive year, an A-rated school district. And not only are we in the top 10 in the state, we have moved up from number 9 to number 8. So we are doing great things here in Miami-Dade County under the leadership of a great governor. As a mother and a classroom teacher for over 26 years, I know the importance of school preparedness firsthand. Getting our children to school with all the supplies they need, the uniform that they need to wear, sets the bar for a year of success. And this tax break that our governor has led our state with is just evidence of how connected he is to the everyday working family. He understands that the last 3.5 years have caused great inflation. The cost of everyday goods is going up, and he is committed to providing the relief and putting dollars and keeping them in the pockets of the hardworking parents and families of Miami-Dade County and the entire state of Florida. I host a variety of backpack distributions, and I can see the need in our community as parents come out. And this tax break holiday for school supplies is a testament that our governor and our state is committed to our families. They're committed to doing what's best, putting students first. They see the impact of education, and they know that the much needed relief for hardworking families who want to make sure their kids have everything they need is at hand, while the pressure of cost, of everyday cost, is at hand. So thank you, Governor DeSantis. Thank you for your strong leadership and the legislature for making this possible for all Floridians. I encourage parents in Miami-Dade County and across the entire state to take advantage of this tax holiday. And thank you all for being here today. And I just want to say, God bless you, Governor. God bless the great state of Florida. And God bless the United States of America.
And Miami-Dade School District is the highest, so it's an A-rated in Florida, of course, but it's the highest performing urban school district in the entire United States of America. And so that's something that I think is really significant. And there are districts in Florida that may have performed higher, and not to take anything away from them, but I mean, Miami is, you got 2.8 million people, you've got a lot of different languages that go in. I mean, this is not the same as like St. John's, which does a great job, but it's just a different, you're servicing, I think, a wider variety of kids and families, and so to be able to have that outcome was really, really positive, and that is not easy to do, and I know they've got more to do, and I know they're going to continue to work well going forward. Okay, Alex Munoz, Miami-Dade PD.
Good morning. My name is Alex Munoz, and like you guys heard, I'm a police officer in the South Florida area in the great state of Florida. A lot of people may know me as that guy they give him the ticket, or the guy hiding behind the tree with a radar gun.